This is Patrick from WSOU 89.5 FM, the loudest rock, here with Joe Lynn Turner. How you doing?
Good. Thank you, Patrick. Good to be with you.
Yeah, you too. So let's get right into it. You have a new album coming out, Belly of the Beast. So far, we've heard two singles, the title track and Black Sun. These singles are probably the heaviest material I've heard from you in a while. What led to this heavy metal sound for this album in particular?
Well, it's an album or a genre I always wanted to explore. It's a modern melodic metal. It has melody, it has message, and it was something that I always wanted to do. If I was to go back into Rainbow, Malmsteen, Deep Purple, things like that, I either had to write and or sing according to what fit the band. So this gave me a chance, sort of a platform to step out, and do something artistic on my own. And I've always wanted to do this, and the time is right. And that's how it came about, really. And of course, meeting Peter Tägtgren years ago and combining our talents, he gave me the platform as far as his industrial metal music to sort of sing over and fly over, so to speak. So this combination created a bridge between these two mediums, between a melodic hard rock and modern metal.
Yeah, of course. And, Peter, he's worked with Hypocrisy, Pain, Lindemann from Rammstein, really hardcore, heavy stuff. What was it like making a record with your background versus his background, if you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, what we tried to do was be respectful of each other's background and create a bridge between us. And anytime we would go left or hard right over that, we'd always bring ourselves back and say, we are making a modern melodic metal record. Be classic hard rock meets the industrial metal, and we complement each other. We don't go too heavy one way or the other. And I think we accomplished that in the production and the writing and so on, because even the performances, because I think it's something that both genres can really enjoy. It's kind of a meeting of the minds, in a way. So this was our mission, and I think we accomplished what we set out to do, and I'm really happy with the result.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, you wanted to make something that was more your own. You really had the chance to be creative. You didn't want to make something Malmsteen or Rainbow, Deep Purple. What was it like with you and Peter producing your own artistic vision?
Well, I'd just like to add that if an artist doesn't change in movie, dies, literally. You just suffer the consequences of repeating yourself constantly. Mm-hmm. And that gets old for the artist, and it gets old for the audience. So it had to happen. But our production together was it's quite interesting, because we started off with one song, found we had a chemistry, that song being Don't Fear the Dark, as it appears right on this record. And we knew we had something. Then I went to Sweden to his studio, The Abyss, and we wrote two other songs right on the spot. And we for sure knew we had some kind of alchemic chemistry going there, because we were real excited about what we were doing. He had to go on tour. I went on tour, did a couple of different things. And before we know it, the pandemic hit. So we were kind of locked down and out of touch, except for virtual. And a lot of bands did virtual recording back then. So Peter was in his studio, I was in my studio, and we just did it on Zoom, WhatsApp, Viber, any way we could. He'd send files to me, I'd send them back with lyrics and melodies. It was yes, no, maybe so. We'd hone them down, we'd go back in, fix the music, fix the vocals, whatever we had to do. And little by little, we came up with these 11 tracks. And I'm kind of glad that happened that way. The curse was really a blessing with this pandemic, because it gave us the opportunity to make a great record and not just a good record. We had the time. We weren't going anywhere, and we couldn't go anywhere. So we just dug in, and every day, just about every day, except maybe some weekends we took off. But it was nonstop.
Yeah, for sure. And I was going to ask if the pandemic kind of slowed you down, but like you said, you had pretty much everyone had all the time in the world. What did you do with this extra time that you maybe didn't have time to do on past records?
Oh, well, contractually, record companies give you maybe 4 to 6 months tops, to get another record out. And I was doing the hard rock stuff at that point. So I think Don Henley said it back, if I may. He said it best. He said that you've got about, say, 23, 24 years old before you make your first record, somewhere in there. And you've got all this certain amount of subject matter and life experience. But after that, it's one album every year. And he actually said that the Eagles used to go out and create havoc and get in trouble just so they'd have subject matter. So, the collecting of the subject matter is another big issue. So it afforded, again, a lot of subject matter happened in those 2 years, and I think it was inspirational and motivational for me to grab hold of that, because I really believe that artistically, an artist has to reflect reality around him. It has to reflect. It's a mirror of society, and I'm not painting still life here. This is actual real stuff that's happening, either personally, geopolitically, whatever. So I just took everything that was happening inside and outside, and it got dark, because these are dark times. These are not, fruit and flowers. These are pretty dark times. So again, expressing it artistically, it's a reflection of the times.
Right, of course. And going beyond lyrics, we talked about lyrics and the music, a lot of subject matter to go over, but you've also worked with several visual artists for this album, between lyric videos, album covers, photographers, things like that. First, one to ask, what's the significance of the Belly of the Beast album cover?
Okay, so I have a friend, a young tattoo artist and painter, real edgy kid, really, really gifted, but he's very edgy. His paintings are not for everybody. He paints some very deep stuff. And I saw this painting. In fact, he gave me the painting, and it'll be on my wall here in the office as soon as I get a chance to hang it up. It's a pretty big painting. And I knew it was Belly of the Beast like about a year and a half before it happened. I knew the title of the album. I knew what I was writing about. And I just looked at that painting and said, this is shocking, because really art should disturb you. When I say that, I mean, I don't care if it's the Mona Lisa or if it's, something by Bosch or whoever. Art should really disturb you, whether you like it or hate it. You should never forget it. So this was a really strong painting, and I think it exemplified visually the situation that we're in, the belly of the beast system that we're in. And I just had to have it. And he was kind enough to say, not only can you use it, but you can actually have the painting as a gift. So I was just jazzed about that. But I knew, and it's artistic. And so are the photographs. The photographs were also artistic. Agatha, she's an amazing photographer. As you can see in the actual photographs, they're really deep and textured. We wanted the packaging to also be more artistic. The video that's coming out on the 28th of October with the song Tortured Soul is another mini movie. So all in all, I wanted this to be an artistic work, than just throwing just a couple of guys singing in the field someplace, to make a video.
Yeah, of course. And now, since you said before you got to have your own creative freedom on this album, when you're working with visual artists, does it ever get frustrating trying to bring your vision to life, or do you usually all kind of understand what's going on?
Well, I'll go into the lyric videos with Wayne Joyner. Wayne does a lot of work for many famous people. You've probably seen his, whether you know it or not, you've seen a lot of his lyric videos. Anyway, Wayne is a true pro, and we work together on what the messaging should look like visually. Now, of course, he's got a better angle on it than me, because he's the visual artist. But at the same time, he was just super with it, because I would just throw some ideas at him, and he would just improve upon them. So I pretty much wrote that Wayne kind of makes you you hear it instead of you see it. You see what you're hearing as opposed to just audio alone. So it kind of connects visually and audio and visual together, and it presents this message, and it's very strong. And I think he did an amazing job actually on both. The lyric video that we did for Belly of the Beast, of course, is a lot more extensive. But Black Sun was kind of a static lyric video, which means you have basic image and some lyrics thrown in front of it. But I still think he did a wonderful job on that as well. So Wayne, is really good to work with. But there are some videographers that I've encountered in the past. They have a vision, and it's not yours. And if it's not your vision, you know, you can get kind of irate because it just doesn't represent you. And I think that's a problem that many artists have when they're not being represented properly. I think people can miss the point. You know, it just misguides them, really.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm curious, for someone like you who's been in the scene for decades now, what has it been like for you to see the ability of artists evolve from the 80s until now, both like, you know, visually, lyric videos, music videos, the production, stuff like that?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, the technology's come a long way. I mean, everybody and their mother is making an album or a video on their computer. You know, it's like so easy to do. You have you know, so many programs that you can use on the computer. In fact, so do I. I use it for my vocals and things. This album particularly, though, was done in a studio, in a state-of-the-art studio. Both studios, state-of-the-art. And the only thing that we did on computers was maybe like demos, skeleton tracks, just to get the idea of the music and the lyric, melody, so on and so forth. So the technology has come so far that it's made, in some cases, I think it's made it too easy for the artists or wannabe artists. And in other cases, I think it's probably beneficial. I think it's about 50-50 because I think anybody can make a record now, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's good or it's worthy of it. And I think that a lot of times I give them, look, I tip my hat to anybody who even tries. So God bless them all, you know, and do your best out there. But concentrate on what you're doing. Don't try to copy people because I find that the originality starts to get lost. And what happens is that everybody starts to sort of be what I call a cookie cutter of the next guy. Look the same, sound the same. You know, when I had a few students for vocals, and what I told them is don't sing like me, sing like you. I says, copy everybody, imitate, and then forget that. The biggest compliment I ever had was when Roger Glover from Rainbow and Deep Purple said, Joe Lynn Turner has found his own voice. That's exactly what you want to do. It's find your own style, find your own playing abilities, etc., your own singing abilities, whatever it may be. So sometimes that's lost because it's so easy to just sit down and, you know, play a few chords and make a record. But before you get there, guys like me, we had to cut our teeth in the clubs. We had to, you know, we had to play for no money. We had to drag our equipment around. We really had to pay our dues. So I think paying your dues is my point here, is that when you do pay your dues, I think you've got a deeper understanding of what you want to do.
Yeah, of course. And speaking of originality, with all the metal music that I have to listen to here, I think power metal might be one of the most original genres that there are. And I would consider a lot of the songs on Belly of the Beast to be power metal. I don't know how important genres are to you, but like having worked with Rainbow and Malmsteen, you really saw power metal kind of in its earliest roots. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the modern power metal scene today.
Well, you know, that's a good question, but because I think I always said that metal was like the bastard child of hard rock. You know, that's what happened. You know, you take Purple, Rainbow, you take those bands, and then you sort of they how would you say evolve into something else, right? Mm-hmm. The sounds of the guitars, the style, the speed riffing, the shredding, et cetera, et cetera. All of that was touched on in the past, but at Black Sabbath, you know, but at the same time, I mean, you still can't touch Black Sabbath, really. You know, they brought it forward, and it's changed, but it's evolved from the father. Say we were the grandfathers, maybe. How would you say it? You know, we started this kind of stuff, and it evolved into all these different genres. I mean, at a radio station, for example, I can remember the days there was absolutely no genre. You would play funk right next to rock, right next to Sinatra. It didn't matter. You know, there was really no selective death metal, power metal, pop rock, you know, rap. There wasn't any of it. It was just radio, you know, and everything came on the radio from soup to nuts. So the evolution, I think it's good. I think music should evolve like that. It's not all my cup of tea, but I can understand culturally how it happens. For example, rap or even death metal, you know, the throat singing. That's really something, you know, I mean, as a singer, and I can do throat singing because I've tried it. They taught me a technique of it. I'm not really sure what the point of it was, except to disturb. So maybe that is art in its own self, you know. I certainly think it's aggressive and it has a place, but it's not something that I listen to all the time.
Yeah, of course. And I have to end with a question that I love to ask every artist that I interview. If you could pick one Joe Lynn Turner song to send out to aliens for them to listen to, what do you think it would be? And this could be a You song, a Malmsteen song, Purple song, whatever.
Wow. Okay. That's a good question, the way you position it with the aliens. You know, songs are like children to me. They're all special and you love them all differently. So it's not like I love one more than another just because it had more chart power or anything like that. But I'd have to say Street of Dreams from Rainbow, only because melodically and message-wise, spiritually speaking, and personally, that song has a lot of feeling for me, coming from me. The story itself is a real story and about the reincarnation of somebody you've known before. And I later married the woman. I honestly, accidentally, we found each other karmically and we got married. So it's pretty special stuff. And I also think that melodically, it just represents tonality that the aliens might enjoy as far as frequencies, you know. So it has major parts, it has minor parts, and there's a beautiful melody. And something like that, I think. Otherwise, I might have to throw Belly of the Beast at him.
All right, cool. Well, Joe, thank you for doing this. Joe Lynn Turner, Belly of the Beast, out October 28th. Go stream it, download it, CD, vinyl, whatever you got to do. Anything else you want to add, Joe?
Just like to thank everybody out there, especially in Jersey and New York. That's my stomping ground, you know. And I'd like to thank them for all the love and support that they've given me all these years. They're truly the rock I stand on. So stay healthy, stay well, and stay strong, man. Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Joe. This is Patrick, WSOU 89.5.
Ciao.